I thought I had the perfect marriage. 8 years with Amanda, building our life in a Boston suburb, both with successful careers and plans to start a family soon. We were happy, or so I believed. Then, things changed. Amanda started working late, mentioning a new colleague named Jason frequently. Her behavior shifted, her phone became password protected, and those unexplained text messages kept appearing. Something felt wrong in my gut, but I never imagined discovering what I did. The evidence was undeniable, but how I handled it changed everything. Before I take you through the moment my world collapsed, let me know where you're watching from in the comments. Hit that like and subscribe button if you've ever had that gut feeling something wasn't right in your relationship. Amanda and I met 10 years ago at my college roommate's housewarming party. She walked in wearing a blue dress that matched her eyes, and I was instantly captivated. We talked all night about our dreams, our careers, and our shared love for travel. 3 months later, we were officially dating. 2 years after that, I proposed on a beach in Hawaii at sunset. She cried when she said yes. Our wedding was everything we wanted. Intimate yet beautiful, with just close friends and family at a vineyard outside Boston. We bought our house in the suburbs a year later, a colonial with a big backyard where we planned to raise kids someday. I worked my way up to senior project manager at a construction firm, while Amanda excelled in marketing, eventually becoming an executive at one of the most prestigious firms in the city. Life was good. We had date nights every Friday weekend, getaways every few months, and annual vacations, somewhere new and exciting. We had disagreements like any couple, but nothing major. We were best friends and lovers, and I thought we told each other everything. The first signs that something was wrong appeared about 3 months ago. Amanda mentioned a new coworker named Jason, who had transferred from the Chicago office. According to her, he was brilliant, and they were partnered on a major campaign for a new client. Suddenly, Amanda was working late several nights a week. Weekend work emergencies became common. She would come home exhausted, sometimes smelling faintly of cologne that was not mine. I tried not to be suspicious. Her career was important to her, and I wanted to be supportive. But other changes followed. She updated her wardrobe, buying new dresses and lingerie I never saw her wear. She started going to the gym more frequently and changed her hairstyle. None of these things were problematic on their own, but together, they formed a pattern I could not ignore. One night I woke up to find Amanda texting at 2:00 a.m. When I asked who she was talking to, she quickly locked her phone and said it was just work. The next day I noticed she had changed her phone password. She had never done that before. Our intimacy dwindled. She was always too tired or had a headache. When we did connect physically, it felt mechanical, as if she was just going through the motions. The emotional distance between us grew wider each day. The evidence continued to mount. One afternoon, my friend Thomas called to ask if everything was okay with Amanda. He had seen her having lunch with a man at a restaurant downtown, when she had told me she was in meetings all day. I thanked him for his concern but made excuses for her even as doubt gnawed at me. I began checking our credit card statements and found charges for restaurants I had never been to and a hotel downtown on a day she claimed to be at a conference in another city. I found receipts for gifts I had never received. One evening while Amanda was in the shower, a notification popped up on her phone that was sitting on the coffee table. A message from Jason read, "Last night was amazing. Can't wait to see you tomorrow." My hands shook as I put the phone down. I debated whether to investigate further. Part of me wanted to confront her immediately, but another part needed irrefutable proof. One day, while Amanda was grocery shopping, I checked her iPad, which was synced to her phone. There, I found a dating app hidden in a folder labeled Utilities. Messages between her and Jason revealed a 3-month affair. In her email, I found saved hotel receipts and intimate photos they had shared. The evidence was overwhelming and devastating. I felt physically ill, rushing to the bathroom to vomit as the reality of her betrayal sank in. Still, I needed to see it with my own eyes. The following Tuesday, when Amanda said she would be working late, I followed her after work. She drove to a hotel downtown. 20 minutes later, a man arrived, someone I recognized from her company's website as Jason. I watched from my car as they kissed in the parking lot before heading inside together. I took photos as evidence, each click of my phone camera feeling like a stab to my heart. Back home, I researched Jason further. His LinkedIn profile revealed he was 38, married for 12 years to a woman named Jessica, and they had 2 children ages 8 and 6. The family photos on his Facebook page showed a picture-perfect family. I wondered if Jessica knew her husband was cheating. I wondered if I was the only one in the dark. The next few days were the hardest of my life. I could barely eat or sleep. I called in sick to work, unable to concentrate on anything but the betrayal. The images of Amanda and Jason together replayed in my mind constantly. I reached out to my closest friend Michael, who had gone through a divorce 3 years earlier. He listened without judgment as I poured out the whole story, then advised me to speak with a divorce attorney before confronting Amanda. "Protect yourself first," he said. "Then decide how to proceed." The following day, I met with a lawyer who specialized in divorce cases. She explained my options and advised me to gather financial documents and secure my assets before confrontation. She also explained that while Massachusetts is a no-fault divorce, state evidence of infidelity could still impact financial settlements and property division in some cases. I spent the next 2 days gathering bank statements, investment records, and property documents. I opened a separate bank account and transferred half of our savings into it. I also backed up all evidence of the affair on a secure cloud drive. Each step was painful, acknowledging that my marriage was effectively over. As I prepared for the inevitable confrontation, I kept thinking about Jason's wife, Jessica. Through social media, I learned she was a kindergarten teacher at a local elementary school. Her Instagram showed a devoted mother who volunteered at church and loved gardening. Her posts were filled with family photos and inspirational quotes about love and commitment. The irony was bitter. Did Jessica deserve to know about her husband's betrayal? I grappled with this moral question for days. If I were in her position, would I want someone to tell me? After much reflection, I decided she had a right to the truth just as I had needed it. I considered various approaches: an anonymous email, a letter, a phone call. None seemed right. Then I had an idea that would allow both Amanda and Jason to face the consequences of their actions simultaneously. A 4-way video call where all parties would see the evidence at once. The plan was risky and potentially explosive, but it offered something I desperately needed: a sense of control. In a situation where I had been powerless, I would present the evidence calmly and clearly, giving both cheaters the opportunity to explain themselves to their spouses and each other. I spent hours preparing a digital presentation of the evidence, screenshots of messages, hotel receipts, photos, and a timeline of the affair. I rehearsed what I would say, determined to remain composed, despite the emotional turmoil. Finding a way to contact Jessica without alerting Jason was challenging. Eventually, I found her work email on the school website and sent her a message asking to speak about an urgent family matter. I was vague enough to pique her curiosity without revealing the true nature of the call. To my surprise, she responded within hours, agreeing to a video call on Friday evening. The pieces were falling into place. I told Amanda I was planning a special dinner at home that night, ensuring she would be present. Friday arrived and I took the day off work to prepare mentally. I set up my laptop in our home office, making sure the recording software was working properly. My hands trembled as I arranged the evidence files in order. This would be the most difficult conversation of my life, but also potentially the most liberating. I prepared a simple dinner, though I had no appetite. When Amanda came home, she seemed pleased by the gesture, completely unaware of what was about to unfold. At 7:30 p.m., I suggested we have dessert in the office, while I showed her something important on the computer. Once in the office, I initiated the video call with Jessica, who appeared on screen looking concerned but friendly. She was pretty with kind eyes and a warm smile that made the situation even more heartbreaking. "Thank you for agreeing to this call, Jessica," I said, my voice steadier than I expected. "Is your husband home?" "He's in the other room with the kids," she replied, confusion evident in her expression. "What is this about?" Amanda walked in, then stopping abruptly when she saw the video call. "What's going on?" "Who is that?" she asked, a hint of panic in her voice. "Amanda, this is Jessica," I said calmly. "She's Jason's wife." The color drained from Amanda's face as she realized what was happening. Jessica's expression shifted from confusion to alert concern. "I don't understand," Jessica said, her voice tight. "What is this about, Jason? I believe our spouses have something to explain to us. I replied, then turned to Amanda. Would you like to start, or should I show Jessica what I found? Amanda's hands gripped the back of a chair. Robert, this is crazy. I don't know what you think you know, but this is completely inappropriate. 3 months, I said, keeping my voice level. That's how long your affair with Jason has been going on. Jessica gasped audibly. Amanda attempted to deny it, but her voice wavered. I have evidence. I continued, turning my screen to share the first photo I had taken outside the hotel. This was last Tuesday at the Harborview Hotel downtown. The image showed Amanda and Jason kissing in the parking lot. Amanda stopped mid-denial, her mouth hanging open. That could be anyone, she stammered, though we all knew it clearly wasn't. Jessica leaned closer to her screen, her expression hardening. That's definitely Jason. I recognize his suit. He told me he was at a client dinner that night. I continued, methodically presenting evidence. Screenshots of text messages, hotel receipts, the timeline of their meetings based on credit card statements and location data from our shared family plan. Amanda transitioned from denial to anger. You had no right to invade my privacy like this, she hissed. You've been spying on me. I had every right to discover why my wife was lying to me. I responded calmly. The real issue is that you've been cheating on me with a married man who has 2 children. Jessica had gone very quiet, her initial shock replaced by an unsettling calm. Jessica, I said gently, I'm sorry to be the one to tell you this. I thought you deserved to know. Could you ask Jason to join us? Jessica asked, her voice surprisingly steady. I nodded, and Jessica left briefly to get her husband. Amanda used the opportunity to plead with me. Robert, please stop this. We can talk privately. This is between us. No, I replied firmly. It's between all 4 of us. You made that decision when you chose to get involved with a married man. Jessica returned with Jason, who looked annoyed until he saw who was on the video call. His face went completely white when he spotted Amanda and me. What the hell is this, he demanded, but his confident facade crumbled as I reshared the evidence on screen. As Jason began offering desperate explanations, Jessica raised her hand, silencing him with a gesture. Actually, she said, her voice cutting through his excuses, I already knew something was going on. This silenced everyone, including me. It was the first twist I hadn't anticipated. 3 weeks ago, I found hotel charges on our credit card statement, Jessica continued. Jason claimed they were business expenses that would be reimbursed, but something felt off. So I hired a private investigator. She reached off screen and returned with a folder which she opened and held up to the camera. The investigator has been following Jason for 18 days. In that time, he's documented 3 different women. Jason's face contorted in panic as Jessica continued. Amanda, you're not special. You're just Tuesday's appointment. Wednesday is Stephanie from accounting. Friday is someone named Kimberly. Amanda looked physically ill. That's not possible, she whispered. Jessica laughed without humor. I have photos of all 3 of you with my husband. Would you like to see them? The second twist came when Jessica revealed her next move. My attorney has already drafted divorce papers, naming all 3 women, she said, her voice growing stronger with each word. Our prenuptial agreement has an infidelity clause that Jason insisted on. Ironic, isn't it? When I file these papers tomorrow, I'll be entitled to 70% of our assets and primary custody of our children. Jason began to panic. Jess, please. We can work this out. Think about the kids. I am thinking about them, she replied coldly. I'm thinking they deserve a father who doesn't lie and cheat. Amanda turned to me, tears streaming down her face. Robert, I'm so sorry. It was a mistake. He told me his marriage was basically over. He said they were staying together just for the kids. Jessica laughed again. He tells that to everyone. Classic Jason. In that moment, an unexpected connection formed between Jessica and me through our shared trauma. 2 strangers linked by the betrayal of the people we loved most. Thank you, Robert, Jessica said sincerely, for having the courage to make this call. Most people would have just sent an anonymous message or said nothing at all. I nodded, feeling a strange sense of peace despite the chaos. It seemed like the right thing to do. The call ended shortly after with Jason following a furious Amanda out of the room. I heard the front door slam minutes later. Neither of them returned that night. The immediate aftermath was a blur of practical steps and emotional turmoil. I changed the locks the morning after the confrontation and secured our valuables. Amanda returned 2 days later with her sister to collect some belongings. Our interaction was brief and tense. I filed for divorce the following Monday. The process was relatively straightforward, given the evidence I had collected. Amanda didn't contest anything, perhaps out of guilt, or simply wanting the process over quickly. Telling our families and friends was difficult but necessary. Most were supportive, though some mutual friends struggled with taking sides. I lost a few people I thought would stand by me, but also discovered unexpected allies. One such ally was Jessica. We exchanged contact information before ending that fateful video call, initially just to coordinate details about the divorce proceedings against our spouses. Our lawyers appreciated the cooperation and shared evidence, making both cases stronger. The first few weeks after the confrontation were the hardest. I would wake up reaching for Amanda, only to remember she was gone, and why. The betrayal felt fresh each morning. I lost weight, struggled to focus at work, and isolated myself from friends. Eventually, Michael convinced me to see a therapist specializing in betrayal trauma. Dr. Lewis helped me understand that my reactions were normal and provided tools to manage the overwhelming emotions. Gradually, the pain became less acute. I rediscovered old hobbies that had fallen by the wayside during my marriage. I joined a local rock climbing gym, reconnected with college friends, and started playing guitar again. Each small step helped rebuild my sense of self outside of the marriage. Jessica and I continued to communicate throughout our parallel divorce proceedings. Her case was more complicated due to the children involved, but the infidelity clause in her prenuptial agreement proved decisive. Jason attempted to fight it, but eventually conceded when faced with the overwhelming evidence. My divorce was finalized 6 months after the confrontation. The judge awarded me the house, which I decided to sell, wanting a fresh start without the memories. Amanda received her fair share of our assets, but did not contest my claims to retirement accounts and investments I had brought into the marriage. The most surprising development came 8 months after that first video call. Jessica and I had continued our friendship, initially bonding over our shared experience, but gradually discovering we had much more in common. She was intelligent, compassionate, and resilient in ways that impressed me daily. We started meeting for coffee to discuss our divorce proceedings, then for dinners, where we talked about everything but our ex-spouses. I found myself looking forward to these meetings, planning what I would share with her about my week. One evening after a dinner where we had barely mentioned Amanda or Jason, Jessica looked at me thoughtfully. She said, "I think this is the first time in over a year that I've spent an entire evening not thinking about the divorce or feeling angry." I realized the same was true for me. Somehow, in the midst of the greatest betrayal of our lives, we had found something authentic and honest. We began dating officially after both divorces were finalized, taking things slowly and respectfully. We were both cautious, carrying the scars of betrayal, but also uniquely positioned to understand each other's fears and boundaries. Our relationship was built on a foundation of complete transparency. We shared phone passwords, not out of obligation but choice. We introduced each other to friends and family when it felt right. Jessica's children took time to adjust, but I was patient, never pushing to replace their father but simply offering friendship and support. As I reflect on the journey from that devastating discovery to where I am now, I recognize how much I've learned. I missed red flags in my marriage to Amanda that seem obvious in retrospect. I ignored my intuition when it tried to warn me. Those are lessons I'll carry forward. But I've also learned that crisis reveals character both in ourselves and others. Jessica showed remarkable strength throughout her ordeal. Rather than being destroyed by betrayal, she channeled her pain into positive action for herself and her children. There's a certain irony that Jason and Amanda's affair inadvertently brought Jessica and me together. Two people who might never have met are now building a life based on the very values our former spouses discarded: honesty, commitment, and respect. I'm not grateful for the betrayal or the pain it caused, but I am grateful for where the journey has led me. Sometimes the worst moments in our lives are the ones that redirect us to where we're meant to be. Trust your instincts. They're usually trying to tell you something important. Set boundaries that reflect your self-respect. And remember that even in your darkest moments, there may be unexpected light ahead. Have you ever experienced betrayal that ultimately led to something better? Share your stories in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, please hit like and subscribe for more real-life experiences. And remember, sometimes when a door closes painfully in your face, it's because there's a better one waiting to be opened. Thank you for listening, and I wish you healing and happiness wherever you are on your journey.